Welcome to the Shake Up Podcast. I'm your host and co-founder of Mr. Consistent, Jarrad Bell. This is a podcast where we invite friends of the brand into our studio. We get to know their story a little bit better. We chat all things business, culture and marketing, all while shaking up a few cocktails. This week on the Shake Up Podcast, our guest has turned heads and the chairs of the biggest names in music. CHRIDDY Black, aka CHRIDDY, is this week's guest, and he takes us behind the scenes of his journey on being on talent shows, Megastar, and The Voice. This episode is super insightful, hearing all about Chris's personal experience on these internationally recognised competitions and all the misconceptions that come with it. There's more than meets the eye with CHRIDDY, and this has been one of my favourite chats yet. So let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of The Shake Up. We have a special guest in here today. We have CHRIDDY Black, also known as CHRIDDY. Welcome, mate.
What's good?
Thanks for joining us in the studio. This man has spent far more time in front of a microphone than I have.
You should have no problems then.
Yeah, you should be right.
I don't know how to work it.
Tommy was in here giving you a lesson 2 seconds ago on how to position a microphone. You just listen here. Mate, thanks so much for joining us. Got a little cocktail in front of you, ready to go. Mate, who are you? What do you do? You're a singer. You've done a few, like,
jack of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades. I see you singing. You've done various, like, I guess, talent shows. You would call them music talent shows. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But where did it all start? Where are you from?
From New Zealand. Hey, New Zealand cuz.
Shot.
Hey, Tommy.
Shot, cuz. Shot.
Oh, cross black.
It's crust. Yeah, born in New Zealand. I moved over here in 2000.
Yep.
So I grew up here. I call Australia home for sure.
Yep.
And started playing music when I was like 7. Every time I tell the story, it changes. I feel I'm like, I was like 8. And I was 6.
Like 8, getting older every story.
Yeah. I think it was around 7 or whatever. My old man played guitar, kind of just passed it down and just taught myself. Actually, my mum taught me to play my first ever song. I don't know how she knows how to play a guitar, but she just did.
Taught you the song.
Yeah, it was some New Zealand song. I can't remember it now. But then I just kind of, I guess as I grew up, I started to realize like, I do like music.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was like early 20s, maybe 18, 19, early 20s where I was like, I actually want to take this maybe somewhat serious because I started to actually feel like I had a passion for it.
Yeah. Because the singing's like, playing an instrument is one thing, but the singing part's a whole other thing.
When I first started learning guitar, like that was hard enough. And then when I started to learn to sing while playing, I was like I just couldn't.
How am I keeping up? The legs,
yeah.
their fingers can't keep up with the brain. Man. The brain can't keep up with the mouth.
Like you would know, like when you're playing music, it's like the timing and stuff. Like I never learned.
I'm always out of time. I was always out of beat DJing. Tom would rinse me. Tom is the guy who records the podcast. We used to DJ together and he would literally rinse the shit out of me because I would always like mix off beat and shit. And I'd be like, yeah, killed it.
Yeah, don't worry. I feel like I have the same problem, man. It's it is something different. Like I feel like if you learn music at a young age, you obviously learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So playing guitar, you can kind of, you develop those skills over time. But I think I was stuck in 2 minds trying to decide if I wanted to sing or play or do both.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do it. And it just made it extremely hard for myself. But for me, it's either I'm all in. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And my
school choirs and stuff.
What's that?
School choirs and stuff like that, like music at school.
Yeah, I did. I think I did. I think I was in the choir when I was younger. And then I did music in like high school. But I just did it because like more of a piss take. Like I knew I could pass.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I wish I took it serious.
Yeah.
But then there's things where I look back, I'm like, they never taught us that. They never, you know what I mean? I'm like, trying to teach us to play the triangle. I'm like, who the fuck plays the triangle, man? Like legit. I'm sure there was a triangle in my
more cowbell.
Like, oh, bro. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where it all started. And then I've just been in and out of jobs throughout my life. Like just can't pick what I want to do. And then when I, decided, music's for me, I really do love it. I took it serious. And then that's when kind of a couple of those shows came about and I was like, oh, why not? This is a good opportunity to, branch out and make a name for myself, get some exposure, maybe create a business with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've done. So
that's so cool, man. Yeah. Like making that happen. Like it's so hard because music is one of those careers where people like, I know my dad was like, you're never going to be a DJ.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, Dad. Fuck you.
Yeah. I'll show you.
I'm spending all my money on music and records and like all those kind of things. But I didn't turn out to be a DJ, but we're here now. But it kind of just played a part in my life where like it was like expressive and all those kind of things. But as it's not really, people don't see it as a career, if you will, especially at school.
Yeah.
Like nobody goes, like there's those kids that go off to, like, was it the Qantas choir and all that kind of shit? And they're like, but then they end up with nothing. But then, and there's no like career path for a musician. Like you play gigs, you get found, like you kind of get discovered, if you will, through like SoundCloud or Triple J Unearthed or something like that. And then you hit the big time. There's like a couple of paths, but there's no real like you climb this corporate ladder, you do this job, then you go to this job, you go to that job. Yeah. And then to get to where you are now, it's like there's no
never really thought about
playbook.
Like
that, There's no playbook for you guys to be able to be like, all right, if I do 12 gigs this year, next year I'll get to do 6 gigs, but they'll be paid double, or like there's no, like you got to figure out what you're worth to the venue that you're playing at, all those kind of things. There's no like set price, all that kind of shit.
No, you're so right. I've never really thought about it like that, and I think that's probably where I struggled a bit too, was with just figuring out like what kind of music I wanted to play, where I wanted to play. Like I did a couple of pub gigs here and there when I was younger, and I was like, this isn't for me. Like I don't want to sit there playing Wonderwall to a bunch of drunk people.
Some ripper pub tunes,
oh man. And then like half an hour later, like, oh, do you know Wonderwall? It's like, bro, I just played that. Like it's just, you kind of got
$50 in the hat and I'll play it again.
Yeah, exactly. Double or nothing. It's you're right. It is hard, and it's like you don't climb up, you get discovered if you're lucky enough. Like there's a lot of obviously talent and hard work involved in, almost anything you do, especially music or anything in the entertainment industry. However, I'll probably be the only person I reckon that I've ever heard say this. There's so much luck in it too. People are like, oh, there's no luck, it's hard work. And like, you don't discredit that. Of course there's hard work, and you can't just be someone who's tone deaf and then make it. You know what I mean? Like, but there's so much luck involved in being the kind of artist that you are at the right time, being found by the right person for that particular genre, and you know what I mean? Timing.
Music's trending,
exactly,
like all those kind of things.
Yeah, like Justin Bieber, for example, one of my favorite artists. I've got him tattooed on me for the rest of my life. Like I love him. But he was so lucky, man. Like he's super talented. The kid can play anything. He's amazing at what he does. He can do everything. But he got found by Scooter Braun, taken to Usher. And then, the rest is history. Yeah. I'm sure there was a lot of other things in between. But I mean,
how many artists is that like that Scooter Braun had that haven't been hits, like haven't hit like Justin Bieber has? It's all timing.
Yeah, timing. There's a lot of luck involved, like just knowing or the right people being in the right place at the right time. Like it's huge. And I think people are very easy to kind of steer away from that and be like, no, there's no luck. Like, there is. 100% there is. Yeah.
Speaking of luck, you got onto, like, I didn't even know this till Kirsten put the script down in front of me, because I knew you were on The Voice.
Yeah.
But you did Megastar over in the US.
Yep.
So, like, was that you auditioned here and they were like, we want you, you got to fly over here? And you're like, holy shit, am I flying over for an audition? Like,
yeah, it was a weird process. Hey, one of my good mates at the time, Nathan, Nathan, he hit me up about it. He's like, oh, have you seen this? There's this app called Megastar, and it's like run by Usher. And
I remember this because Tom was posting like when you got on it.
Oh yeah.
I think you
with who was it? Hamu. What's his name? Who's the dude that rapped in your video?
Oh, Hemi.
Oh, Hemi. Yeah, Hamu's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because I remember Tom was screenshotting it, and there was so it was Megastar. It was the app, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah,
he's always on my back.
Yeah. Hey.
He's always looking for a new DJ partner. one that had rhythm.
Let's do it. Yeah, so I got like sent the whole thing, like, this is what you do, and I was kind of just like, I'm not interested. I kind of thought it was fake at first. I was like, some things seem too good to be true.
It was, what year was it?
2017.
Like, that's when apps were kind of just hitting.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of, I get that, because that's when, there was apps out there and like, is this real? Is it not?
Yeah. I think that was...
Is this technology actually happening? Yeah.
And then when I saw Usher's name being dropped in there, I was like, I don't know. Anyway, I looked into it and I was like, oh, it is real. So I just kind of browsed through and I was like, oh, what's the go? And basically it was a talent show run through an app, and it wasn't just singing, it was anything.
Yeah.
There was magicians on there, like dancers, singers, whatever. So, to like sum it up really easy, it was just you upload a video of whatever your talent is and the public votes. So like, can be anyone from around the world.
Yeah.
And if you get enough votes, you go through the next round. So So I was like, oh, what have I got to lose? So I was like, well, I chucked up a video, which I think it was that video, first with Hemi. And it was I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith. And then it just kind of took off. And I hadn't even promoted it really at this point. I'd maybe told a few people or maybe chucked it up on Instagram once or twice. And then I went through and so on and so forth. I found myself in like the quarterfinals or something. I'm like, I didn't really understand how it worked. I'm like, I'm here now.
What's going on?
Yeah. And at this time, I was actually in the process of moving back to New Zealand just because I was in a bit of a rut and I just was like, I don't know what I want to do. I was like 50-50 with music. I had an opportunity to go work with some family friends over there and I just needed a change.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going. And I'd actually just gotten into a relationship at that time with my ex-partner. And it was all kind of just like, oh, what do I do? I was like, nah, I'm doing this. I need to move. So I moved over and then this whole megastar thing happened and I was uploading videos. And before I knew it, I was in the semi-final. And I was like, all right, I got an opportunity here to make the finals, which is top 5.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are around the world. They would have fly you to LA and then you kind of compete for first, second, third, and so on. And when I realized that was happening, I was very close to that. I was like, I need to push for this. So I did what no other contestant did. And I went to all the news and media outlets, radio outlets here in Australia and also New Zealand.
Yeah.
And they all got behind me.
Just ate it up.
I was so lucky. And it was a really smart move. I even got like pamphlets printed out. When I was living in New Zealand, it was just this little shitty town. I just went around for about 4 or 5 hours at like 10 o'clock at night and just handing out all these pamphlets in letterboxes and stuff for like older people.
Yeah.
So they could
Jump on
it. Just stuff like that. And that was probably the first time I ever experienced like hustling, like being like working hard for something I want to achieve. You know what I mean? And so I did all that and I got all these interviews and stuff kind of pile up and then I got pushed to like 3rd place. And then the voting kind of stopped and it was like you couldn't see who was sitting in what position.
Yeah.
I just knew I'd made the top 5. Prior to that, I had just hit 1st place and I knocked this chick off, Andy Case, who ended up winning the show. And that's when everyone was kind of like, holy shit, you know?
What's going on? This is like dreams are about to become realities. Yeah.
It was insane. And so they contacted me and it was still a bit surreal. I was like, this isn't a stitch up, is it? Like, am I really going over to meet Usher and like, what's going on? And they were like, here's your details. We booked the flights and they booked flights for a couple of extras I could bring. So I brought my one of my best mates, Tori, with me and my mum. And like the next week we flew out to LA. And they took us straight to their hotel, had like a meeting and stuff with them, and then went to the studio. It's like Usher's main studio where all the artists come and record, like all the rappers, like everyone comes through there. And this thing was insane. And just like walking in and I was like, all right, this is happening. Like, this is it.
Nothing like that ends like light the flame properly, eh?
Oh man. I was just like
throwing fuel on it.
Literally, bro. It was like, it was like a dream come true, as you said. So I was kind of trying to soak it all in, but also I was a mess. I was anxious. I was like, I never experienced this. And I knew that I was going to meet Usher, which has been one of my favorite artists, like of all time. And we all just had to sing a song, perform one song each on like the final day. And then I think it was like a voting system that would determine who won. Yeah. We couldn't see the votes. No one could. We ended up meeting him and he kind of announced the winner and it ended up being her and I came second, which was still amazing. It was really great.
Mate, that's huge though.
Massive achievement. And it was like the only catch to it, which was kind of, I find it funny now, was first place got $1 million. So she got $1 million. And then second place was 25 grand.
That's a big step down.
I know, like I sound ungrateful. Like it was awesome. It was US too. So by the time I got back here, it was like 40 grand. Yeah. 40 grand, 35 grand, whatever it was. And that probably went in like a month. But we won't say where it went, but
celebration.
Yeah, for sure. Just young and stupid as well.
We've all done it.
Oh, bro. But yeah, like just the difference in prize money. It's like so I was like, and I was just so certain that I was in first place because the last time I checked voting where you could actually see, I was. But she had a massive fan base. Like she's got a big YouTube following where she gets like 30, 40 million views plus. Yeah. And at this point, my
US base as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so my biggest following was probably Instagram at the time. And it was roughly 10K. I think I was under that. And the only reason I did so well was because I went to the media. You know what I mean? I went and got like the countries kind of helped me. So yeah, that was kind of that experience. Like I got to meet him. There was, obviously celebrations after. Met some pretty big names and stuff over there and got some good contacts and flew back to New Zealand and then moved back to Australia.
Yeah.
that was kind of.
And then just like that obviously lit the flame for the music thing to sort of
Yeah.
continue on.
It did for a bit, but then I kind of burnt myself out a bit and then just kind of fell back into like a not sure what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a lot of expectations behind this app and this particular talent show going to be so big because of Usher. And it was either going to be the next biggest thing ever or just really,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And it wasn't. It was real bad. Like after that, it was kind of just like everything just died down. Like nothing came from it.
All
like,
the hype sort of stopped. All the the TV presenters stopped calling. All the other things like when, And I guess if you like, she obviously walked out with like a record deal, whatever it was from it, or like some sort of.
Yeah, I think she did, and but I found out that so the $1 million was actually paid over 30 years or something. So she didn't actually get $1 million. It was like $33,000. I think it's $33,000 a year for 30 years or 20 years or something. Yeah,
that's a shit salary.
Yeah, and they don't tell you that kind of stuff. But I mean, I guess
at least you got yours up front.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I wish I didn't know that.
Dripped it out to you in $50 a week.
Oh man. Yeah, it was.
Mate, those kind of things like make or break people though. Like honestly, like that's like as you said, like they turn like it probably felt like the tap just turned off.
Yeah.
And then you had to figure it out. You're back to square one. You had to figure it out all again.
Well, yeah, it kind of just you're like relevant for however long, and then you kind of it just fades out. And there was a lot of empty promises as well from contacts and even Usher himself. Like he told me so much stuff where I was like, I'm going to be back here real soon working with this guy. Like he made me believe so much stuff. And there to the point where it's kind of like, you feel real salty on them afterwards. You're like, why do you say that to people? Like you're just kind of tearing people down. Like you build them up to just rip them down.
How old are you?
28 now.
Yeah. So you would have,
next week.
Yeah, you would have been what, 25-ish?
20. Yeah.
At that point when people are feeling, when you're getting told things, you probably feel like, fuck, dreams are coming true, and then and then somebody like that's making promises that can actually make shit happen for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then nothing comes of it. Fuck, you definitely. I can understand the deflated feeling of once it all slows down.
Oh, it can affect you massively as well. And like, I don't think I allowed it to affect me, too bad, but it just left me really confused. And I was kind of like, oh, it's almost like you're relying on that, and you had, your hopes were really high to kind of, I don't know, project into what you were going to be as an artist in that. And then you kind of just like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And so at that time I wasn't really gigging much, and I was just unsure of what I wanted to do.
Feel like you had to go back playing Wonderwall.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, that was not a great option for me.
So you, like when you came back, you moved back to Oz. How come you moved back to Oz?
Because I was with my ex. That's pretty much, I couldn't do a long distance, whatever his relationship. So I just, kind of, and to be honest, I'd had enough time over there. I'd spent like 6-7 months there, and there's just nothing there really. I was just working, and then that was it. You know what I mean? And I wasn't enjoying it. So I wanted to be back where my friends were, my family were.
Grew up on the Gold Coast?
Yeah.
It's hard to go from a beautiful town like New Zealand is beautiful. I've been there a few times, but like,
not where I was.
Yeah. Well, if you go back, it's a little bit slower. It's like, there is the country towns, and there's, you do there's 2 or 3 different jobs to do in that town. And that's what it is like.
The lifestyle here is so good too. Like, we have the beaches, and that's what I grew up with. So I think I was missing that. And I sacrificed and just put up with what I could for a while. But I just got to the point where I was like, I need to go home. Like, and home for me is here. So.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. I know you, mate. Everyone, like, you're always out having fun with everybody, singing. Like, I always see, like, even a mutual friend of ours, Wayno, is always like posting video. Like, I remember when you must have been just after it, you guys were always like singing together and playing guitar and like having a good time. So I think everyone's glad to have you back, mate.
Yeah. Good to be back.
Anyway, we're gonna make a drink. We're gonna see how fast you can make a cocktail.
Oh God.
Have you made how many cocktails have you made before in your life?
None.
Has one of your side jobs been behind a bar?
Yeah, that's actually. There's no good at cocktail making. Could pour a beer. That's about it.
The guy pouring the beers.
Yeah,
we're gonna see how fast you make cocktail.
Oh,
see if you can get you on the leaderboard. Is there anybody on the leaderboard you want to beat?
Forzy's there. He's always nice to beat.
Yeah, where's he at?
He's 9th. 27.60. Pretty good time.
27.60.
I'd love
You
to
could do
beat
that.
Forsey.
All right, let's
I'll
get
try and take yours.
Go to the top.
go to the top. See if you can get to the top, but we'll definitely get you above Forsey.
All right, done. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're set up.
Is that the time?
No.
Oh, I was like, bro.
No. I'll do
He's
ready,
like,
set,
yeah,
go.
it's been 5 seconds. Hurry up.
I'll time it. So, all right, we've set up. We're good to go.
Yeah.
You're going to do 75 mils of the Mr. Consistent mix, which is all the way to the top on the jigger.
Yep.
45 mils of tequila,
Second line.
second line down.
All over that one.
Scoop of ice.
Yep.
Shake.
Yep.
Strain it out into the glass. You got to shake it 5 times, and strain it out into the glass, and then garnish it with the fruit. However you get there is your time.
Is this shake 5 times? That gives you the extra 5 seconds, eh? That's
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be able to get 5 shakes in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go on ready.
All right.
We'll do 3, 2, 1, and on go we'll go. All right. Let me get this stop. Let me get this stopwatch up. I'm going to start yelling. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Ice first. Good tactic. Get it in there. 75 all the way to the top. Flip that bottle up. Here we go. We're making good time here, guys. Bang. 45, second line down. Tip it in. Holy shit. We've got a good time here. Glass on. Glass on. Bang. Shake 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Crack it. You got to whack it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Strain it on. Here he goes. Put it on. Put it on. Here we go. Bit of fruit. Here we go. Strain it out. Strain it out. Strain it out. Put a bit of fruit on. Bang. Holy Jesus. 28.60.
No.
Oh,
Legit 1 second off
28.60.
him.
I thought I was under 20 then.
It feels fast,
Oh.
eh?
Do you know what was that slowed you down? The slow pour out.
At the end?
Yeah, you pour. You went real calm. You just get out. What?
Yeah, I thought it was going to come out real quick like that.
Mate, that's banging. That's
pretty
pretty.
good.
Mate, that's a good time.
What did Forsey
Going
get again?
into, you're in the top 10.
27.60.
Oh, my.
So legit
You are-
1 second.
You are in the top 10.
You would have had him.
Coming back for redemption one day.
He just literally texted me the same thing when I sent the video of you. He's like, I need redemption. Mate, you went through this megastar thing, the highs and then the low.
Yep.
You went back for seconds. You literally, like,
Wasn't
how,
good enough.
yeah, you went back for seconds and you did the whole voice thing.
Yeah.
How far in between was that between finishing Megastar to
So Megastar was
2017?
2017, and then like right at the end of 2017, and then The Voice was the start of 2019.
Yeah,
so
okay. About a year,
a
in
year and
between,
a half. Yeah. And yeah, that kind of came about. I actually got scouted. So they scout talent every year. They go.
Yeah, got you not just lining up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which I guess is good. You kind of skip a few of the stages, and you obviously know that they want you to come on the on the show. So I was pretty hesitant with that at first, to be honest, too, just because I didn't really want to be an artist that's kind of going on these talent shows to try and make something of himself. But then I had conversations with some good friends and artists and stuff that I know, and they're like, well, why not just take advantage of it? It's not
It's an
like
opportunity, yeah.
exactly right. So yeah, that came about, and that's exactly what I did. Took the opportunity.
And then you that's like a audition thing. And then who was I don't remember who the judges were.
So that year was Guy Sebastian, Talented Goodrem, and Boy George and Kelly Rowland.
And do you get teed up with somebody?
Like the coach?
Yeah, like the coach?
Yeah, so it depends on how many chairs turn for you. So
Yep.
I got a 4-chair turn, which was awesome. So then I got to pick out of the 4.
Who you choose.
But you always have a preference. They always ask you before the show starts if
Yeah.
you know who would you pick if they turned around for you.
Yeah.
And so I always had Guy as my first, just because I grew up listening to him, and he won first ever Australian Idol. Like he's got that experience, and yeah, I don't know. I've been a big fan of him. So he was actually the first to turn around for me.
Yeah.
And the rest did later on, and that was always the way it was going to go. I was always going to pick him. So kind of just went with my gut, which was him, and yeah.
Cool. How, like, you learn like that? Obviously, they turn into a coach. Is it actually like they are a mentor coach for you? Or there's other factors in there.
There's a lot more to it that people don't see behind scenes, obviously, and there's a lot of recording, a lot of recording that doesn't go to air, where it can kind of be a bit misleading when you're there as a contestant, I guess. But for me, I obviously picked him and went through to the next stage, which is the knockout rounds. And I think they kind of change each year because they obviously try and spice it up a bit and just make it a little bit different. But the year I was on was, the knockout rounds. So you verse 2 other people from your team. So I versed 2 other guys from Team Guy. And there's 3 of us on stage and we all got given a Ariana Grande song. Yeah. Just a different song.
Yeah.
And we all perform 60 seconds each and kind of just rotate on the stage. And then Guy picks his favorite. Yeah. Or who he think thought did the best and then takes them through. And that wasn't me. He picked this young kid that I was versing. So he got through, and then technically whoever doesn't go through goes home. Yeah. But that year they had these things called saves. And so any coach that was watching the performance could hit their buzzer and a save thing would come up on the panel to say they want to save you if they want to keep you.
Goodrem wants to save.
Yeah, and she did. Yeah. So she hit hers and so did Guy. So I had an opportunity to kind of pitch again as if it was the blinds all over again, but just for them two. Yeah, yeah. And she was selling it to me. Delta was selling to me, just going, well, do you want to go back to Guy? He didn't pick you first. Yeah, and really selling it. And then I ended up saying something to him like, why didn't you pick me? And that comment went like viral. It went all over like the Daily Mail and like all the news articles and stuff. They're like calling me salty and ungrateful and shit. And I was just like,
bro, I just asked a legitimate question. Yeah. Why didn't you pick me?
I got slammed. I want to know. I was like, because he was going, he was saying all this stuff like, you're my favorite and you impressed me and I really want to keep you. And because he's got a pitch to try and keep me as well. Yeah, yeah. And that's when I was just like, well, why didn't you pick me? You picked Mitch first. And then
Shark Tank vibes,
bro. And the crowd was just like, oh shit. Like, and I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was just like, just straight up like, okay. And then he kind of just went a bit silent. He was like, well, and he's like mumbling. He's like, well, it's because I knew you were, I knew you were great. I just wasn't sure how you were going to perform and you just blew me away. So that's why I want to keep you. And I was like, and everyone's going, just go to Delta, like blah, blah, blah. But there was just something in me. I was like, I've always wanted to be with Guy and learn from him. Yeah. So I stuck with him and then got knocked the next round. So I probably should have gone to Delta.
Delta's hot too. I definitely would have chose Delta. I forgot.
But that's what everyone says. But you know what's interesting? She actually invested a lot of time into me as an artist on the show, more than he did, more than anyone did. And that was just a genuine thing. Like she saw, I guess, like, talent in not just myself, but other artists. And she really invested her time into it. And it was really nice. Like after the show had finished, she followed me on Instagram and sent me a nice message and we kind of kept in contact. And I never heard anything from Guy after that. Nothing.
I feel like she's the one, like, I don't know. I'm only judging off face value of TV, but like she feels like like when you hear her talk, there's something genuine in her voice.
You're the first person to say that.
Really?
Everyone that I talk to goes, I can't stand her. She's so annoying on TV.
Like she just sounds legit, genuine. Like,
and
there's something about her that is, for me, like I've just always been like, I don't like her music. Yeah. Straight up. Yeah. Not my vibe.
No, neither.
But like, there's something just genuine about her personality and the way she carries herself and talks and all those kind of things. So
yeah. And I got that vibe from her too, to be honest. And she was just lovely, man. Like before you go out and do one of your performances, you obviously rehearse like the day before it. So you're on stage just running through your song a few times. And her team was before Guy's team. Yeah. And so there was like an artist from her team performing their song, just rehearsing it. And we had our in-ears in, just listen. You can obviously hear everything that's going on. And she's going, all right, yep, stop there. And then she'd walk up on stage and go, that was so beautiful, that performance. She goes, I want you to do that again, but I want you to be, his name was Jordan. Yeah. So I want you to be Jordan. I don't want you to be whoever the artist was that is performing. And it was such a like genuine, like just such a beautiful thing.
Genuinely trying to coach people.
Like exactly. Whereas like, I won't like say anything bad about Guy. He didn't do anything like wrong, I guess, but we didn't really get that. It was more just like, that was great. Like, wasn't much like, oh yeah, well, what else do I need to do? Or what can I do? Or what can't I do? Whatever. Whereas she was like really, really invested and you could see that. Yeah. And so for me, I was like, looking back in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing. Probably should have picked her.
Could be the difference in somebody that's had guys had the experience and like whether he got treated the same way from his coach or whatever it is. And like, that's just how he thought it rolled or whatever it was. But I think like it feels like maybe like that's what, I don't know, fuck. If you sign up for that shit, I'd be invested right into it, like.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people also say that the shows are so much about the coaches because you always see all the drama and like, oh, they've got their new single coming out and they really promote the coaches where it's like takes the limelight away from the actual artists that are trying to make something for themselves. But this year, I don't know if you've watched any, they've changed network. They're with Channel 7 It's probably been the best season I've ever seen.
Really?
No drama. It's just no bullshit. It's like they're really invested in the people, and it looks like the artists that are going through are just going through based off their talent.
Yeah.
So it's been a really like a big change, and I think it's really good because I'm still in contact with a lot of them, and I think it was probably the best move for them.
It's kind of like the whole social media thing allows people to give them a voice as well, like outside of, excuse the pun, but like a voice outside of what the TV can actually fucking cut up. Like they can cut whatever they want. They'll cut it how they want it.
Yeah.
And you have no say in the end product or how it, like, fuck, it could have been scripted that it, like you, I don't know whether you know or not, but like it could have been scripted that guy was going to do that. And then they were like, fuck, Chris is probably the guy that could clap back at him if he, you have no idea where that's going to happen. It's TV. Like, now the social media thing gives them a voice to be like, what a fucking idiot. Like we had Kat in here the other week who was on The Bachelor. Yeah. And she's like, they're just like the producers of these shows are just like ruthless.
Yeah,
like, she's like, they'd tell me one thing and then something else will happen. And then they're like, if you don't say this, then we're going to get such and such to bring it up and you'll look like a dick. And
they are. You're right. They're ruthless. And there's some shit that I saw on the Voice that I was a bit like, that's a bit dodgy. Like I saw a performance in one of the rounds and Boy George was talking to one of the contestants and was like, just giving him all the props in the world. You know, this was amazing. Such a great performance. And he went to speak. He's like, oh, and then just stopped speaking. And I was like, did you just shut down? Like, what happened? And then he like grabbed his earpiece and was like, the most obvious thing ever. Like, wasn't subtle at all. And he just goes, oh, but actually, I'm going to pick you and pick the other artist. And everyone was like, what the fuck just happened there? It was like he malfunction or whatever. It was just like, hang on, Right, and it was so obvious, but they don't put that on TV. You don't see that. And like, I don't know. It was just weird. I remember watching that just going, that is so... Like the producers obviously in their ear just saying,
do this, do that.
Yeah.
Three bags full. So yes, sir.
Seeing that kind of stuff, I was like, yeah, you just kind of got to go on the show, do your best, be a good person, be kind, and kind of just give them what they want, get the most out of it. And whenever your time's up, and then go and make the most of those opportunities when you finish, because there is so much hype afterwards, and you got to capitalize on that. And that was one thing I probably didn't do enough of. So. Regrets. It's real sad.
What do you do like that was 2019, 2020, obviously year of the fucking COVID.
What's that? There's something going on, is there?
Something going on in the world. What are you doing with yourself now? Like,
so at the moment I'm in the stages of like completing my own music. So been writing for like years and years now. And I've just recently linked up with one of my best mates, Joel, who's my duo partner. And he's just super successful in everything that he does. He's spent about 6-7 years in LA writing with some of the best songwriters in the world and working with some of the biggest artists. So he's got a lot of experience and stuff. So we're working together writing some songs for myself. Yeah. So I'm in the stages of writing like an EP, I guess, which is roughly 4 songs. Yeah. And then I'll probably release an album after. We've got a couple of songs finished and it's looking pretty good. We're just kind of developing. We're trying to figure out my exact sound. Yeah. So I want to play covers. Like I sing a lot of pop stuff, R&B, and I'm a very soulful singer, and like I love that about my voice, I guess. But when I'm singing my own songs, I'm like just trying to figure out like what I want to sound like. You know what I mean?
And all those competitions and all those things, you're singing other people's.
Exactly.
Stuff
yeah.
The whole time.
You're just showing off your ability, like, you know, what you've got to kind of give. But then when you're singing your own songs, it's like, it's very different. It's like, it's kind of like a new thing for me now.
And it's not only singing, it's the sound, it's the beats, like it's all, everything coming together to make that perfect.
Finding the right producer.
Mate, I listened to a podcast the other day with Pharrell and he's like, I've made in the realms of 4,000 songs. And he goes, 1/3 of those songs don't need to exist.
Wow. Yeah.
That was like how brutal he was. He's like, man, opportunity arises and I make like to collaborate with somebody and make something. Yeah. But he's like, literally 1/3 of those songs do not need to exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's right. I know even Joel, for example, has made like over 500, probably 1,000 songs. And he's used maybe 10 of them, 15, you know what I mean? So yeah, like that. So I'm now in that stage of just writing heaps of songs and just picking what's best for me, what sounds best. And when the time's right, I'll release that. I'm not in a rush. I think time's on my side. Like I'm still young, so I just want to make sure when I do release it, it's what I want. Yeah. Because once you release it, you can't really take it back. So make sure it's
right.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, just doing that stuff at the moment, and then also just working outside of that, just doing gigs. Like I do a lot of weddings and birthdays and just, gigs here and there. So,
Yeah.
and we're doing a lot together. Yeah, it's good. It's paying the bills, for now, and it's pretty decent money. You kind of set your own prices. And like you were saying earlier, what you're worth, you've got to know that. So a lot of places, like, I'll tell them what I'm worth, and from my experience, what I've done, that's what I am. And a lot of people turn it down because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to sell myself short.
They also think that they're used to paying X amount of dollars, and when they
Yeah.
get told why,
Yeah.
they don't understand why.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is what it is. But yeah, throughout kind of like since the voice up until now, obviously with COVID, there was a massive, huge intermission with like entertainment, everything being closed, restaurants, bars, weddings. Like I reckon I was actually looking at one of the best years of my life financially in 2020. And I was really excited for all the music that I was going to be doing. And then COVID hit in like March or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then it was just like cancel. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, what am I going to do now? So kind of sucked, but
20, what is it? 28.72. Might be back behind a bar.
there we go. Sign me up, Mr. Consistent.
The singing barman.
Yeah. The singing barman.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Mate, it's what, like, when COVID comes around, fuck.
Everyone was affected, man. I'm not playing that card. But for the entertainment industry itself, it's like if a restaurant and bar closed, well, we can't play there.
Yeah.
That puts the staff out of work as well, don't get me wrong. Weddings, everyone had to postpone because it got to a point where it was like, I'm pretty sure weddings you weren't allowed to do them. But then when you could do them, you were allowed like 5 to 10 people there. It's like, well, you may as well elope. Like you can't. It was just a nightmare. So I even felt bad. I've got a wedding right now, right? It was supposed to be next month in October up in Noosa. They've postponed now for the 5th time, maybe 6th. I can't remember. So they booked me for 2019. They had to postpone it for some reason. And then they postponed it to 2020. COVID hit. Postponed later on in the year. Had to postpone it again. This year, lockdowns, all this shit happened. People can't
You can't
come.
even book nothing. You can't book anything.
I feel so bad for them. I'm just like, I don't even care about like my job and what I'm earning from it anymore. I'm like, just go elope. I feel sorry for them, mate. I'm like, you want to get married and you just can't. Like, so it's just stuff like that, man. You just got to make, what you can with what you have at the
Make the
moment.
best of the situation at the moment, eh?
Yeah. And so it's just pretty much what I'm doing. Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm loving it. Like I'm happy
What's
and
your
I'm doing what I
your
love.
Instagram handle's at CHRIDDY BLACK.
CHRIDDY BLACK. Yeah.
So people can follow you there, see what's going on, see what's happening.
Yeah.
When the
doing a
new
bit of-
music comes out, I imagine that's where we'll hear about it first.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Definitely Instagram.
You put up a couple of questions on your Instagram. People hit you up. One was, do you have any rituals? Morning rituals, before singing rituals?
Yeah, years ago, I used to have like morning rituals where I'd wake up before the sun, watch the sunrise, like go for a walk, meditate, that kind of thing. But there was no particular order. It was just something that I wanted, how I started my day.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I'm doing the same thing. I'm waking up, like the last couple of months, I've been waking up every single morning for sunrise. Go down there.
That's sick, man. So like,
it's the best way to
sunrise
start the
is the
day, man.
best on the Gold Coast.
Oh, and I'm like last year I was watching sunrises not in the right way. I was watching the wrong sunrise, watching it, then going to sleep.
Yeah.
So now I've kind of flipped that around and just, I go down to the beach and just do some breath work. So I follow that Wim Hof.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
See,
doing a
I've
lot of
done
his
some stuff
stuff.
like that. Yeah, it's
I
really
love
good.
it. It works for me,
Cold
man.
baths and stuff like that. Yeah, I
jumping
love
in
it.
the cold water. And then I'll usually go for a 5K walk. I make sure it's at least 5K. And I do all this before like anywhere between 6 and 8 a.m. You know what I mean? I start my morning like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But in terms of music, not really. I actually don't really have as such. Like, if I'm super nervous for a gig, depending on what it is, like if I'm doing a performance, not a gig, there's a difference. I do some sort of like breath work meditation thing just to calm myself, because I do get it. Like, I'm human. We get nervous.
Yeah, yeah.
When I did The Voice, man, I actually took 2 Valium when I went on stage.
Oh my God.
And it calmed me. Like, I felt really relaxed. I was like, oh, I needed it, because I was just like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? I saw the crowd and I was like, no way.
How many people would be in the crowd when that kind of?
It's hard to say. It'd be a couple of thousand, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like, because you're a center stage, the coaches are there with their chairs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, calm me down. I was like, oh, I'm good. I feel good. Walked out on stage, saw the crowd and went, oh, fuck. It's like I didn't have the Valium. It just wore off. The adrenaline dump hit me and I was like, grabbed the mic, and then the spotlight comes on you, and that saved me, because then I couldn't see anyone.
You can't see anyone, yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. And then I think for myself, I'm really good at staying composed, like with anything that I do. So my composure was good, and I sang, I always look back and I'm like, oh, I could have done a better performance, but that's just me being harsh on myself, my own worst enemy at sometimes. But I look back at the video and I show people, they're like, oh, you don't look nervous at all. I'm like, so that's good, I guess. But yeah, there's stuff like that I'll do. There's things that I can do, but wouldn't recommend having Valium as a ritual before going out. But
when we would DJ at Beach Hotel was like one of the places like cute, like there'd be like 1,000 people in the crowd.
Yeah. I remember when you guys used to
and I had one ritual, but it wasn't optional. Like for me, it was like a nervous poo. Like we'd get there, like, dude, it was the worst. You get there and I'm like, I'm sweet. Like I'm feeling good. I'm fine. And then 5 minutes before we walk on stage, I knew we had to start.
Yeah.
Fuck, it'd be like a ton of bricks. And I'd be texting the manager and I was like, man, can I staff toilet now? It was the worst. Nothing.
I don't know if that's a ritual.
It's a ritual, man. It happens every time. If you do it every time before you do something, that's a ritual.
Yeah, true.
It's the worst.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not lying.
But yeah, I don't have any
It's a shit story, literally.
I don't know if I have any rituals. Like I know like basketball players have they got to do so many bounces before they're shooting a free throw.
Oh, football players when they walk back and kick and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't have anything kind of like that. It's more just if I'm nervous, I just take time to just be mindful and just breathe and just remember that. Yeah.
The other one was, what would you tell your younger self? I think we read it, ain't you? Like, I'd tell myself 1,000.
Oh yeah, man. I feel like I've been through the works with so much shit where too much I could tell. But if was it one thing?
Yeah.
Honestly, this is gonna sound. It's gonna sound. Beat Jarrad at a fucking making his cocktails. Without trying to sound cliche or whatever, it's just be kind. Like be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Because I grew up with rough people. I went through phases of trying to figure out who I wanted to be friends with. We all do.
Yeah.
And it was just so easy to have an ego and be a dick and it's just the easiest thing to do. You know what I mean? And I found I grew up around whoever I was with. You're a product of your own environment. And I was certainly a really big example of that. And I just felt like I wasn't always a kind person. I was never really kind to myself. I was always hard on myself and stuff. And it's easier said than done. But I feel like if you can learn that at a young age and apply it and be able to kind of keep that for the rest of your life, when anything kind of comes your way, no matter what life throws at you, I just feel like if you can just be a good person, be kind.
I'm on that. I definitely, that's good advice.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I remember is growing up as a kid, I got severely bullied in primary school and high school.
Yeah.
And but as soon as I left, the kids that I wasn't around bullying me, then I started bullying other people, or you kind of that's all you're used to. It's fuck, I just wish, it's all you know. And then but yeah, being kind, if you tell, man, I've got a little girl, and the one thing is just always kindness. Everyone's the same, treat everyone with respect and kindness.
Exactly.
And then it kind of follows through, I think.
It's like the old saying, kill them with kindness. You can't, if you're fighting a fight with hate or with fire, it's never gonna. It's just it just douses it. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna be kind and just show love, eventually, people can't fight with you like that. Yeah. It just goes one way. See you later. You know what I mean?
And people come in and out of your life as well. The kids that weren't kind to me, I can't stand. If I see him in the street now, I grew up on the Gold Coast. If you see him now, you kind of I don't really want to talk to him, and then they end up marrying your friend or something.
Yeah.
Stuff like that does happen.
Yeah.
And you kind of fuck, I wish it, or there's somebody that I was mean to. I'm fuck, I wish I was nicer to that person.
Yeah.
And then
sure.
Yeah.
And I think also on that note, it's easier said than done, but I'm so good at giving advice. I can't practice what I preach. I need to practice what I preach. I think we all are guilty of that at times, but I've learned a lot throughout my life, especially around the topic of mental health. And I'm no expert, but I'm really good at helping others and, knowing what to say, the right thing to say and do to help others. And then I forget to
do it for yourself.
Do it for myself at times. And then I'm you find yourself struggling with certain things and you're like, why can't I do that, mate? You fucking tell everyone else to. Do it yourself.
Yeah,
you're
always holding up the mirror for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly right. And you're just your own worst enemy at those kind of times. But be kind to everyone and Life's just a bit
Be
smoother.
kind to your mother, be kind to everyone.
Yep.
The
Except
next
Tommy.
one. The next one. I'll take a gap in there because whether you delete it. Are you mates with Shami? What happened? Because you guys were hanging, like I saw on Instagram, you guys were hanging out in those pool parties and shit he was having. And
Yeah, I was working for him. Like we met for a.
what do you mean working?
Yeah, it doesn't look like work.
Like, is it like
literally
you're
on
signing
a payroll? Yeah,
You're on a payroll
I
to
was
just
paid
like
weekly
be at these parties and do
just to be a
dumb shit.
fuckwit.
And, like if you if I say fucking fill my brother's car with gumballs, you fill my brother's car with gumballs or whatever.
Yeah, it's just so so we met. We just met out one night and then kind of just hung out a bit more and just partied and whatever. And then I think he just kind of liked who I was and we had a lot of fun and stuff. And he knew that I wasn't doing much with music because of COVID. We couldn't do much.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you want to work for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, what? Doing what?" He's like, "Oh, basically just filming because he films for YouTube, Facebook, and then he's got his own subscription thing where you've got to pay to." And that's like kind of more. It's not OnlyFans, but it's like like getting on it, having like fun, doing that kind of shit. And if you want to see what happens, you pay to go watch it. So I was just like, yeah, why not? Nothing else happening. It's a bit of money on the side and have some fun at the same time with good mates. And so I did that, and it was good fun, man. We went on trips, we went away, and just a lot of partying involved, like at least 2 times a week. Had lots of fun, man. So much fun, and met some cool people. Really good experience. I learned a lot about myself, about others. But then I just got to a point where I was like, kind of on a high, and then I just got to this point where I was like, I just started to crash, and it was just like deteriorating my mental health. It was just.
And partying takes its toll. People don't know like that, and like those kind of I don't know, those highs that come with that social media, and like the anxiety that comes with doing things for likes, comments, content, the anxiety of that, like, oh, we've got to do this, or I've got to be like, oh, if I'm not there, I'll miss out on this, or like we need to get this footage, or we're not going to hit our subscription numbers or whatever, all those kind of things.
Yeah,
I think it's not a healthy roller coaster.
No, and it's not sustainable, to be honest. And I started to see the bigger picture later on.
And if the money's not coming with it, it's also hard to be around and sustain a life around those people, right? Like, however much money he's making, you're just on the payroll. Like,
exactly, yeah. And I just saw too much like negatives and stuff. We'd get asked for feedback on certain parties and events and stuff, and everyone was kind of just like, yes sir, just giving him what he wanted. And I've just never been that kind of person. Like I don't like it when I get walked over, and that comes from childhood trauma, I guess. And so when he asked me questions, I was just honest with him, and I was never rude. It was just like constructive criticism. I'm just like, look, it wasn't that great. The vibe was a bit weird, blah, 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 blah. And I was honest. He didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. Didn't like that somebody stood up to him. He's obviously got his own issues and stuff. And he was just a very, very prime example. I was telling Tommy this before, of somebody who has everything, like everything you can possibly want, and he's just miserable. Like that's just the honest truth.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you don't wish that upon anyone. And he was my best mate and like a brother to me at one point, but I couldn't help him. I got to a point where he didn't want to help himself. And it just proved that he was also an example of money doesn't buy happiness. Materialistic things don't buy happiness. And it is really sad, but he's lost a lot of people in his life because of it. And in saying that, man, like he is a good guy underneath all that. He's just, I think maybe the money and fame maybe got to him a little bit too much. Yeah. And I wish him all the best. Like I hope he gets better and he is happy.
Yeah.
I do genuinely mean that.
It's almost like he needs somebody, those kind of people that can go in 2 directions a lot of the time. Like it can either like the fame and they turn it into a legitimate business, and they have an accountant, they have a general manager, they have and turn it into a legitimate business, or it goes that way where it's just like what I say goes, like. Exactly.
And so to kind of sum it up in that question, it's no, I'm not friends with him anymore and probably won't be again. There was too much damage done. Maybe in the future one day we might say hello and whatever. But to be honest, I'm still holding on to probably a little bit of resentment myself. And I'm just being honest. A lot of other things happen. I won't go into it. But it just wasn't for me. I needed to focus on myself. I needed to get back into music, which was my thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that doing what we were doing. I just was wasn't training, wasn't eating good, was just drinking. I just started feeling terrible physically, mentally, everything. I was like, I need And I didn't really notice this until my partner kind of pulled me up on it. So when I noticed it, I was like, yeah, I'm out. I need to get out of this. So yeah,
Stop
that's what it is, man.
Stop listening to Drake. I'm so sad.
This episode is sponsored by our events team. They're out there shaking up cocktails and helping you celebrate the good times. If you'd like our team shaking up cocktails at your next event, just head to mrconsistent.com.au and click on the events tab. Now back to the episode.
All right, now we're through the Instagram questions. We're going to play a little card game with some other questions.
Uh-oh.
The card game is out. We've been saying it's coming for weeks. Shake up card game. It's a never have I ever pack. It's basically a bunch of cards.
Am I the first one to play this?
We've had the sample pack for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But people can actually purchase it online now.
Oh, nice.
And get it at home, and they can play with their friends and ask them, shake shit up, make it a bit awkward.
Shit up.
Right.
Get it?
Get it? I've got 3 here.
Oh, it's the worst dad joke.
Sheesh. I'm going to let you choose. All right. Or whichever one you want.
Am I grabbing it?
Yeah,
and holding it?
Grab it. Choose.
Never have I ever had to run from the police. What happens if I have?
You got to tell the story.
Do I have to drink if I have or something? Yes,
I think
have.
everyone's run from the police.
Yeah. Which story?
Nothing that's incriminating. Or you choose another card if it is.
Let's go another card.
Okay.
All right. Never have I ever been to an A-list after party. That's a good question. Yes, I have. Back on the megastar topic.
Oh, yeah.
After that, the whole thing had finished. There was a massive after party, and like the dude from created Spotify, I forgot his name, something Elk or something. He was there. Obviously, Usher and his entourage. There's a couple of other musos, like bigger musos that were there, and then like influencers, like big. I think that Jay Alvarez guy was there.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know Alex Hayes?
Yeah.
Yeah, good mates with him. He was there. That's where I first met him, actually. Yeah, there was other people that I can't really remember much from that night, to be honest. But it was sick. It was in the studio where we were. It was like upstairs in this big kind of, I don't know, warehousey room thing. It was massive, and they just set up this big party thing, and it was for obviously the top 5 that finished.
Yeah,
and they had they just had everything set up where you go and get your photos and just free drinks, free this, and then when that kind of finished, we kicked on somewhere and probably watched a sunrise.
Pretty sick walking into the room with the dude that created Spotify.
Yeah, it was sick. Had a good conversation with him. And there was a lot of investors in there, like two Aussie billionaires or multi-millionaires or something who were there to like see what these are the guys that I met and got contacts off, and these are all these empty promises. Yeah. Never heard from them. That they were like, well, look, we're going to do this with you. We guarantee this. And I was just like, I'm set for life. And it was the complete opposite. I'm not set for life.
Fuck yeah.
It was good fun though. It was a really, really good
experience.
Good after party. Yeah,
you can learn how empty that life
exactly
can be.
100%. Yeah, people just there for a bit of clout, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
Like if I got invited,
take me.
Yeah, for sure.
If I got invited,
wait, do you know what's funny about that? So Usher actually, he was there. I don't know what time the after party started, but it was about 8:30, 9 p.m.
Picture it like a fucking Usher film clip where he's fucking dancing.
We had all his security around him and stuff too. Like it was hard to get to him, but then he'd come over to us to get a photo and
part of his contract.
Oh, legit, eh? Bro, it was so weird. It was I don't know. You literally had like 10 security around him. We're like it's all good, man. Like it's just us here, kind of thing. And then he left. He come and said bye. I was like, oh, are you leaving? He's like, yeah, man, I've got to go. I got to get up at 5 a.m. for yoga. I was like, what? And I was like, at the time, I'm just like, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. We've just finished this.
And you're leaving me for yoga?
But yeah, I was like, man, priorities, eh? Like,
is it hot yoga? Can I come?
Who else is going? Oh, it was so weird, eh? But I was like, oh, you do you, man, like whatever. And then when he left, I was like, that's so weird. But then like looking back on it now, I'm like, the guy's obviously had his years of fucking partying, you know what I mean? And he's just like, he had his priorities and he's like, just wanted to get home and go to yoga in the morning. So I was like, all right, well, I'll drink for you then, brother. All good.
Oh, man, that's so loose.
Yeah, it was good.
Sick.
Good experience, though.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for coming in, sharing all that
having me,
stuff.
man.
It's awesome to hear like the story, and like so many people don't know what happens behind like
Yeah.
closed doors. Like they see what's on Instagram, they see what's like put out in the media, and they see what's on the TV shows and stuff. They don't understand a lot of what goes on behind. They think it's all
Yeah.
very smoke and mirrors
Yeah.
a lot of the time, and being able to share that and let like if there is kids out there that have seen you on The Voice and they go, fuck, maybe I want to do that.
Yeah.
Then like they know kind of a little bit more what they're in for
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
walking in blindly.
Yeah, and I hope that if anyone's listening to this, it can help, inspire the next person out there. Even if it's just one person, just learning or whatever. And I'm always open to answering anyone's other questions, maybe. Depends what they are.
It depends what they are.
But yeah, thanks for having me, man. And
No worries.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
been awesome. And
Send you home for
Gotta-
some cocktails.
got to tell you, these are the best cocktails I've had. 100%.
The Amaretto Sours, eh? How
Oh,
good.
man. Yeah.
And they can follow you on Instagram at CHRIDDY BLACK.
Yeah, I got
If you type in Chris Black, will it come up?
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find me.
Find him on there. Have you got songs on like Spotify and
Nah,
SoundCloud
I've only
and
got
all
all the songs that I did on The Voice at
Gotcha.
the moment. Yeah, so anything else is like just usually on my Instagram.
Yep.
That's kind of the only platform I've used, but I will be releasing songs on Spotify soon. I'm going to release some covers on there too, like proper recorded covers that I've been getting requests for. I've just been lazy. I've been really slack over the last kind of year or so, but
fucking not. If I don't hear him on there, I'm gonna start whipping you in the line.
mate, I'll be back to beat you for this time. I'm telling you that much. Don't you worry.
Ask Tommy about getting whippings.
Oh.
Please, sir.
That's why you sit over there, mate.
Yeah, I'm far away. I got my own mic. Tell them Rona Boys as well.
Oh, Rona Boys, yeah. Where do you play? Do you have like residencies or places where you play?
Yeah, so we play the first Sunday of every month at the Racecourse Markets. It's a morning gig from like 7 to 11.
Yep, I know the ones.
So we play there. And then we have a residency at a place called Byblos in Brisbane. It's on the water. We're kind of there, like, well, Joel's there more than I am, but we're about to start as a duo officially as Rona Boys in the next kind of 2-3 weeks. And then also Nobby's backyard.
Yep.
That we play there from next weekend on the 18th, which is actually my birthday.
See.
So we're playing there, and then I think we'll be playing there every weekend because we're because of all the lockdowns and stuff. It's only just starting to get these residency. We might be at Pink Monkey permanently soon too. So,
mate, backyards
I
are
don't know if that
sick.
answered the question, but
no, backyard's a cool venue. Like it's it's a huge it's literally a backyard. Like it's all grass
it's
and
sick.
stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, come through on Saturday 18th if you want.
If
We're
you're on the
playing
Gold
from 3 till
Coast,
6.
Let's go.
No, I was more talking to you, but
I'm
yeah.
coming.
But yeah, come through. Rona Boys, that's our Instagram as well. It's just Joel and I. And
Is Rona Boys literally because of Corona?
we met, we literally met like March last year or April last year. So like the beginning of COVID, got along, started playing music together. And then when we formed our duo, it was kind of like a joke. We're like, no, we can actually do well with this. Trying to figure out a name for ages, and Joel was like, Rona Boys. And I was like, fuck no. That is so bad. And then it just stuck. We couldn't think of anything better. I was like, all right. And now people kind of love it. So we either get people to our gigs because of the name, or no one turns up because of the name. So we don't have it. So
Guys
come
are
along.
just, from now on, just playing in face masks.
Yeah, it's legit. But yeah, appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Cheers.
coming in. That's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, leave a review. Go show the Shake Up some love and stay connected. Don't forget you can watch all of our episodes on YouTube. Also, jump over to our Shake Up Cocktail Gang Facebook page where you can find out who's coming up on the podcast. And if you've got questions for them, I'll ask the bloody questions. You can also use the code SHAKEUP for 10% off on mrconsistent.com.au. Thank you so much for listening, and just remember, shit that's fresh.